What's up, guys? Live to Give makes charitable giving more fun for whatever charity you're interested in. And today we get to learn how they came about and meet the people behind the scenes. So stay tuned so you can learn how to make it more fun and potentially earn more charitable dollars toward your fundraising. Humans have been telling stories for thousands of years, and here's why. Stories activate our emotions, and whenever you combine emotion to new information, that knowledge sticks with us for a lot longer. That's why I'm on a quest to discover true modern stories by the people who live them, so that we may all learn wisdom from it. My name is Cole. Thanks for joining me on the summit of Mentor Mountain. Today we have Brandon, the founder of Live to Give, and Karen, who is on the board of Live to Give. Well, Brandon and Karen, thanks so much for being on the show, guys.
For sure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So how did Live to Give come about?
Yeah, it was 2016. I had just gotten back from a semester studying abroad in Samoa. And I don't know what happened, but I came back and was in like a funk, like this like life funk. I was a junior in college. And I was like, I want to do something in summer that was like, just do something fun. I hadn't really thought of Live to Give being some big charity event, but at the time I still love Survivor, but I was like, well, I love Survivor. Let me try to figure out like just how to host a day one for fun. And then I was like, oh, like, let's just maybe throw some charities at it.
When Brandon says Survivor, he's referring to the greatest reality TV show to ever exist, minus Alone, in my opinion.
And so I was able to get like 16, I think it was 16. It changed so much because people were like, I can't do it, like all this stuff. But I think our final number was 16 people. And I just hosted a 10-hour, very rapid game. And then I had like the cast fundraise before.
That was the first season, and what happens next is incredible.
I really wasn't planning on doing it again. Like I had fun, but it wasn't in the back of my mind. And then Sunday from Survivor Millennials versus Gen X is from my hometown. And we were super close, and she was like, do this for a weekend. Like, just put this on for 3 days. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much work. I was like, I don't even have people yet. I'm like 20 years old.
Holy smokes.
And so we got partnered with the Rogers Lions, like the Lions International Club, to take us on as like our fiscal sponsor as an event. And then we did a 3-day event, and the cast raised $17,000 that season. And then from there, it just grew, and here we are today, going on our 8th season.
Live to Give right now is a 4-day challenge of Survivor-themed games, and if you make it to the show and you win those games, you get $6,000 toward the charity of your choice. Now, the big question is, how do you make it onto the show in the first place? The first steps are 1, to fill out an application, 2, picking a charity to represent, which is super important.
The casting is we get you on a Zoom call after for like the semifinalists, and we talk about the game, and you get to share about your charities and your stories and your passion behind what inspires you to want to be a part of this. So that's a big part as well after applying. So I think that's a true testament as well as to why during casting, just picking something you're so passionate about or has affected you personally is important as well.
After applying and choosing a charity, it's time to get to work. You actually have to do a little bit of fundraising now. You have to raise at least $800 in order to qualify to be on the show. And $400 of whatever you make goes to the pot. Live to Give doesn't take anything. It just goes into the pot for the winner and for the second place winner. The second place gets a little bit of money toward their charity as well. Now, the more money you raise, the bigger advantage you have in the game. If you know Survivor, there are idols, and idols are just a way to give players a certain advantage in the game. And for Live to Give, you get an idol if you raise the most funds out of anybody, or first or second place in raising funds for your charity. So you want to make as much money for your charity as you can. And there are also just a bunch of different ways that you can raise money for charity. You know, the book's wide open. You can host a 5K. You can host a bake sale, host a workshop, you know, do corporate sponsorships, things like that. That's, you know, post on social media, do it however you want. But the minimum is $800.
I would say too, if someone's interested in applying or competing, I would say get your foot in the door now and volunteer. I think being a volunteer, that's like the one thing I wish I did before competing was I wish I had been involved in it through volunteering before, because it just helps you, one, respect the game and respect what Live to Give is doing, and it gives you a greater understanding of the impact it can have before going into it.
Karen was on season 6 prior to her now serving on the board.
Applications always are out around the fall. It's always after we wrap up the most previous season. So again, just keeping an eye out on our social media for when those applications go out.
This is normally when an ad would come in, but instead, think of somebody who's maybe a part of a nonprofit, has a nonprofit, or who would just love to participate in what Live to Give is doing, and share this episode with that person. It's all you got to do. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Just think of that. Spread the love, and that is all. Making something survivor themed, that's a lot of effort and hours that just goes into their show, and to make anything that is a shadow of that the way that you guys do, that's impressive to me. Did you have any experience throwing an event beforehand?
Not. I was a philanthropy chair of my fraternity in college, so like I had organized like some raffles and different fundraisers. So in regard to like philanthropic and charity stuff, I had a little bit of experience, but like business and like organizational stuff, absolutely none. So yeah, I had a little bit of the preparing for the charity aspect, but definitely not kind of the head of like directing the like organizational growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
that's wild, man.
Yeah, that's that. So I know.
What was the biggest challenge in organizing something like that to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge would just be the skyrocketed growth. I did not expect it to take off. Like after season 2, season 3 raised 27,000, and then season 4 raised 42,000, and season 5 raised 72,000. So like everyone knows this, Karen knows this, everybody knows this. I am not like a business, finance, like I keep saying organizational, but that's what it is, person. I'm more of like the on the ground, figuring stuff out behind the scenes, kind of hustle to get stuff done, connections, networking. And that's kind of like more of the social growth. And so I think the biggest challenge was trying to figure out how to grow it with the like exponential growth and keeping up with it, I think was the biggest challenge. And people came on board after season 2 to help with like casting and helping plan the event for more of like timing each day, you know, organizing stuff. So just keeping up with the growth of that, getting like a risk manager, getting, you know, a volunteer coordinator, and kind of that type of growth was the most challenging, but rewarding at the same time. So
that's super cool. That's kind of a cool problem to have and to run into. Like, oh my gosh, this message is resonating with people and it's growing so quickly. That's daunting at the same time. But would you say that those people that were brought on was the biggest help in solving that issue?
Yeah, it definitely was. I think something that I love and have loved about Live to Give throughout the years is the timing of where everyone has come in and helped. Like people that helped me with season 3, like some might like not help me might not be involved as in Live to Give as they were in the past. I think the beautiful thing about Live to Give is the kind of retention rate of passion and volunteers to step up to the plate when it's necessary and needed. Especially right now, I'm so excited now that we're officially our kind of own nonprofit here moving forward. And like Karen's on the board of directors now, and she played season 6. And so it's cool to see contestant to, almost leading the entire organization as well. So
that's so cool. Karen, what is the biggest obstacle Live to Give is facing right now?
I think one of our biggest obstacles is just finding new ways to get our name out there. I feel like we have a lot of ways that people find us. Like we have those occasional ones, like you find us on their own online, but I feel like a lot of the people that know about Live to Give is through word of mouth and finding new ways or ways to promote ourselves and get ourselves out there more so that we can make a bigger impact on people that know about us. I feel like the bigger impact Live to Give could have. So just finding ways to get ourselves out there more and bring that awareness to what Live to Give does and what we can do. I think that's the biggest one I see.
You heard it, folks. Make sure to go and subscribe to Live to Give on YouTube. And tell a friend. Tell maybe someone who's supporting a charity or even running a charity. It's a way for charities to promote themselves and get more exposure that way. It's just a fun way to do it, too. And moving on from that, Brandon, in regards to the efforts that he has personally put into Live to Give, attributes a lot of his personal success to his impulsiveness.
I am a very I trust my gut and I make a lot of impulsive decisions. Some great, sometimes not great, right? But that first impulse decision to be like, go pitch to someone, put yourself out there, do what you're good at, and you start from there. So I think the biggest thing is just that first step and having the confidence or faith that in what your passion is, it will work, kind of manifesting that law of attraction energy of this will happen. I know this is going to be a good thing, and letting that kind of guide you throughout the way, at least for your foot in the door part, right?
I love it. Yeah. It's so funny that some people, there's this weird belief that being impulsive is bad, but a lot of times that's what needs to happen in order for action to happen. Especially I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the book, The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, but she talks all about that, where if it takes longer than 5 seconds for you to make a jump into something, your brain actively tells you that there's something wrong, that you're going to get hurt if you do it. And sometimes you just have to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and just jump into it, make the call, make the decision, or, walk in and pitch that offer, or things like that.
Yeah, I've found through, again, there's pros and cons to kind of impulsive / gut thoughts is what I call them.
Yeah.
But there's been so many moments where I look back and I'm like, that happened for a reason, especially in the charity and kind of emotional aspect. A huge example of this was last season that we had a duo called Ben and Brian, who are brother-in-laws. And we were closing casting it was 36 hours or something. And Caitlin, who is Brian's wife, who had played in season 3, had done a post and had posted about their daughter Lainey, who has a terminal illness called INAD. And in that moment, I was like, oh, if I reach out, this will be so random, but I also feel like this will be so powerful and will spread awareness. And, just I know they'll do so great with fundraising and advocating for Lainey. And so I reached out and I was like, hey Caitlin, this is random, this is so random, but I would love if Ben and Brian applied and played. And so they applied with I want to say 24 hours left or so, or very, very close to the deadline. And then they came and raised $20,000 together, and that was just from one of those gut reactions. And I also everyone believes in different things, but it definitely was I just feel like it happened for a reason. And that I think has also guided me throughout the way as well. There's been so many moments like that. So find something that helps you feel good and helps others at the same time, because that is the most rewarding part of everything. Once you lose the passion, I mean, what are you doing it for? So,
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree with that. Yeah, you always have to have a vision and a reason for why you're doing things, and sometimes you don't know all the answers until after you act on that gut feeling.
Yeah, and I'll say too, like through fundraising, for my own experience, it not only brought me closer to like the people I competed with and with Brandon and the other members of Live to Give, but I was raising money for my aunt who had ALS, and I was not prepared for how it would impact my relationship with her. Like we grew so much closer in a way that I did not anticipate just by participating in fundraising in her honor. And I just guarantee it'll change your life in a positive way, no matter your experience with it. You'll walk away feeling like you got something out of that you might not expect.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Please go and follow Live to Give on all social media platforms so you know when those applications come out so you can be on the show. If you are just finding out about Live to Give and you want to be on the show, you end up being on the show, please let me know. It would mean the world to me to know that it inspired somebody to make a difference in that way. That's what this show is all about, is just to inspire people to do better. Now, whatever you're going through in life, just know, keep moving forward and everything's going to work out. My name is Cole. This is Mentor Mountain. Thanks for listening. Bye.